On today's wrestling news, Triple H wants a creative intervention.
Big E gives a big old update on his potential WWE return.
WWE Sets New Records.
And an AEW Star was injured in the main event of Dynamite.
Are you ready? Are you ready for the news time? Yes, my name is Phil Chambers. I'm joined by Gareth. We're back once again with the Renegade Master, obviously. But first up, Triple H is wanting a creative intervention in WWE with Vince McMahon. Now, there are rumors, I know, shock, horror, shock, horror. Triple H and Nick Khan are apparently wanting a meeting with Vince McMahon about WWE Creative, specifically about the last-minute changes to WWE Creative that Vince makes to TV, either like right before the show or sometimes even during the show, apparently. So Vince was backstage at SmackDown last night, and he has been a few times since WrestleMania at a couple of different TV tapings. But regardless of whether he's actually at the things or not, Vince has been pretty involved with the creative process. The full extent to how much he's involved remains sort of unknown, but it has been reported that recently he has been making changes to shows remotely, leaving quite a few people frustrated, let's say. So one SmackDown a few weeks ago had 3 advertised matches removed just before the show, which is kind of insane. And there have been reports that people within WWE have been trying to figure out how to stop this from happening. Not necessarily stop him being in creative, but just stop this happening right before a show or even during a show. Stop the last minute chaos that it creates. Now, Fightful Select have come through addressing all of these rumors about Triple H and Nick Khan wanting this meeting with Vince specifically about this, and he called it a creative intervention to have the idea of asking him to step back from making late, heavy changes. Now, the initial rumor that was going around suggested it was going to happen on Raw on June 26th, or at Raw, sorry, backstage, not on Raw itself. That would be a bit weird. But that didn't happen. Long-time sources from Fightful have said that they heard the meeting could happen, but that it hasn't actually happened yet. So at some point soon, this could happen. But also that they wouldn't do that sort of a meeting at Raw anyway. That would be more of a midweek, actually at the WWE offices kind of deal. Main issue, of course, is that it's ultimately up to Vince McMahon whether this meeting even takes place in the first place. And if he knows that it's coming, he might just refuse the meeting and not actually take it, and therefore things will go on as normal. But Fightful ended their little report saying that even with all of this, a WWE official did tell Fightful that there was no truth to the rumor of the meeting and called it silly. So it's two sides of the story here. Who do we believe, the long-time sources or the WWE official? I guess we'll have to decide. But whatever happens, it seems like there's a bit of frustration backstage within WWE.
Yeah, understandable, let's say it, because during that period, that lovely, honeymoon period now, looking back at it, where you had Triple H just taking over and just running things, backstage seemed like a lovely place. There were no last-minute changes. Everything felt steady. It just
reports about everyone being a bit happier, a little more comfortable in their roles and their jobs.
It was a lovely time, and then it all just came crashing down right after WrestleMania, and it's been a bit up and down way ever since. So I can't see it changing because, like we've said there, the guy in charge, the guy who has all the power, could just say nope, and everything's done. So
yeah, even if they do have a meeting, he could still just say no.
He could just say no.
Actually, I won't.
Could just not turn up to it, like you said. So it's frustrating. You can see the frustration because I think WWE and Nick Khan, I think they both kind of made a real effort here to sell things, promote things. I know, what a concept, but that seems to be working. Look how well the business is doing right now, especially WWE's side of it. They're smashing it because they're letting people know what's coming, and people are starting to trust what's coming and actually tuning in to watch what's coming because they're interested in it. There's not been this annoying reshuffling. Right. I know, crazy stuff. But if that starts changing more and more, and the business starts to go down again, well, maybe WWE will have no choice but to make sure Vinnie Mac stops making last-minute changes. We don't know right now, but we will have to wait and see what happens in the future. But speaking of seeing what happens in the future, in the coming, hopefully near future, I want it to be the near future, but I hope the guy himself's just fine and happy. That's most important when it comes to this specific situation. I'm talking about Big E and his neck, really. There's no way around it. It's just his neck and his health and everything, because this guy broke his neck 16 months ago in that horrific moment on SmackDown, And he's been providing a few updates over the last couple of months, and we've got another one here because he was on After the Bell with Corey Graves, and it was a really positive update, and I'm getting a bit excited about it just thinking about it. But he said that he feels great. He said that he even feels 100%, but just a little caveat, a little thing here. He has said that there's still not a timetable currently on when he's going to return, but he does say that he doesn't even feel like a guy who broke his neck, which I think that's... What more of a positive update do you want? He's been able to go to the gym, he's walking around, he's living a pretty healthy life from the sounds of it, and I'm over the moon with that. That's a minor miracle in itself that after such an awful break, the C1 and C6 vertebrae that he fractured, that's not just a career ender, that could be a life ender. So the fact that he's even in this position is absolutely insane. I think he also noted in April, I found this on, I think it was Wrestling Observer newsletter, FOW Online, that his C1 had been healing fibrously and he wanted it to completely ossify before he considered making a return to the ring. So that bone, like, turned into bone, really, instead of just, like, no, I don't know the actual medical thing of it, but he sounds like he just needs it to be really strong before he makes that return. So hopefully he does. Hopefully he is now, and he's just teasing us and he's working us and he turns up on Raw this week. I don't know, but I just hope he's happy. Happy.
Yeah. Absolutely, whatever this is, it is a good sign, definitely. And nice that he's sort of happy and healthy and, just getting back to life again. So yeah, exciting. Good news. Friend of the channel, Big E, good guy, and very, very happy that things are going in the right direction for him. And as always, take your time. Don't need to go back too soon, but as soon as you're ready, my word would we welcome him back with open arms. But speaking of WWE still, and they're breaking records all over the place, the WWE these days. They always like to go big in Madison Square Garden, and SmackDown was in Madison Square Garden last night, and it seemingly went the biggest. So WWE have announced 2 new records from the show. There is the highest grossing WWE event ever at Madison Square Garden, and the highest grossing domestic SmackDown in WWE history. Now, WWE are breaking records all over the place recently. Obviously, Money in the Bank was the highest grossing arena event in company history. The Royal Rumble was the largest gate for the Royal Rumble event in history. And this year's SummerSlam has already set a non-WrestleMania record for day one ticket sales. So WWE's kind of ludicrous in their business these days.
Yeah, they're rocking. They are rocking. And you have to say fair enough. Like the big angles are really firing. Like on SmackDown again, you had another big update in the Bloodline saga. People are invested. Like, it might not all be perfect, it might not all be brilliant in a lot of people's minds, but you can't argue with numbers, and we're getting sellouts. Even if the crowds are sometimes quite quiet, they're still sellout crowds. So WWE doing fantastically well right now, and the wrestling business as a whole is in an incredible position. So we're happy. It keeps us in a job. Way. Speaking of being kept in a job, there's an AEW wrestler who's consistently been appearing on AEW, so they're being kept in a job. That's how I'm going to connect them. Why not? Yeah. But they suffered an injury, Phil. They had a big injury, big-ish injury in the main event of Dynamite. I'm talking about Wheeler Yuta, not Kenny Omega, so, just calm down a little bit. Still not great that Yuta's got injured, but you know what I mean. Honestly. So he's had a hamstring injury. This is according to Dave Meltzer, the Wrestling Observer newsletter, in the most recent edition of that. And he said the belief is that the tear isn't a full tear, so that's a good thing. That he's not fully torn his hamstring. So the belief is that he should be able to appear in blood and guts still. So yeah, good for you. You've got injured, but you can still get battered in blood and guts. Attaboy. So he actually took to Twitter on Thursday after his match, obviously, with a simple S word is what he put. I'm not going to say what it is. He's put the S word. So clearly must be in a bit of pain. So it's soup. Yeah, holy soup.
I assume.
Exactly. So we don't know right now who's going to be the mystery partners, obviously, in this big upcoming match that's going to be on July 19th. It's been heavily suggested it could be Chris Jericho on the BCC side, it could be Kota Ibushi maybe on the Elite side, but we'll have to wait and see for that. But what we can confirm at this moment, according to these reports anyway, is that Yuta, despite battering his hamstring, will be in the thick of the gory action on the night.
Yes, absolutely. Just as always, get well soon, Wheeler Yuta. You're doing a wonderful job recently, is old Wheeler, and good to hear it isn't too serious. And he will be back for the blood and the guts, which is quite exciting. But that is the news for today. Thank you very much for joining us. If you want, you can follow me on Twitter at PhilMyChambers. You can follow Gareth
at GMorgan04.
and click this video that's in the middle somewhere to go and watch more videos on YouTube to watch videos.
Yeah, there.
Have yourselves a bloody good
See ya.